As the days went by, the Nightshade Rodent, once wary due to a lack of affection, grew more comfortable around Linley. On the 8th day, Linley had barely taken 2 steps after setting down the wild rabbit when the little creature darted out, eagerly squeaking at him as it began to eat. On the 10th day, Linley cheerfully wrapped a roasted wild chicken in a small cloth sack, eager to introduce the rodent to its first taste of roasted meat, and headed towards the old house complex behind the mansion. Dennis walked alongside, invisible to everyone else. His white beard curled up as he grinned. "Linley, it's been 9 days now. That rodent no longer fears you. With today's tastier roasted meat, it's bound to be thrilled and grow even closer to you." Linley couldn't help but smile. His plan seemed to be working. As soon as Linley reached the old doorstep, the rodent scurried over, squeaking incessantly as it stood upright and bounced around his feet. Linley was pleasantly surprised that the rodent approached him without any fear, even though he hadn't taken the food out yet. Beside him, Dennis smiled at the little beast, which was completely unaware of his presence. "Looks like this little one has grown quite fond of you," Dennis remarked with a chuckle. The Nightshade Rodent stared at Linley with its beady black eyes, urging him to hurry up and take out the food. "Don't be in such a hurry," Linley said as he pulled the roasted wild chicken out from the cloth sack. As soon as it caught a whiff of the roasted wild chicken's aroma, the rodent's dark little eyes lit up. It then gazed at Linley with a pitiful expression, reminiscent of how Wharton would look at him with pleading eyes, often saying, "Brother, give me some." This memory made Linley laugh heartily. "Here you go." Linley tossed the roasted wild chicken to the eager little creature. The rodent squeaked with delight and swiftly leaped up to bite into the roasted pheasant. After the first taste, it began devouring the bird with increased speed. In no time, the roasted chicken, nearly the same size as the rodent, was completely consumed. "I really don't get how your tiny stomach can hold so much," Linley said with a laugh. This time, the Nightshade Rodent seemed extremely happy after eating. It leaped up and down cheerfully, squeaking at Linley, and even tried to hug Linley's leg with its front paws. Linley couldn't help but feel delighted. This was the first time the rodent had been so affectionate with him after eating. "Linley, try gently stroking its fur with your hand. Most magical creatures like it when someone close to them grooms their fur," Dennis suggested. Linley slowly placed his hand on the rodent's head. It didn't dodge at all, but instead closed its little eyes in enjoyment, and Linley immediately felt relieved as he began to pet the Nightshade Rodent. To his surprise, it even started snoring comfortably. "This little guy is so cute." Linley felt his affection for the Nightshade Rodent deepen. "Old man, isn't it fascinating how these creatures can be so different? You mentioned that raptors and lizards are enormous, with hard scales, and they're Tier 7 creatures. Yet, a Nightshade Rodent can also grow to be a Tier 7 beast, but it has such soft fur around it. Isn't it fascinating how similar yet different they can be?" Linley felt a sense of wonder as he gently petted the Nightshade Rodent. You can't judge by appearance alone. Maybe you see an ordinary old man on the street, but who knows, he might have the power to ride dragons and flatten a mountain with a wave of his hand. "It's the same with dire creatures, never judge them by their looks," Dennis said with a smile. Linley understood this principle, but subconsciously, just like everyone else, he tended to judge based on appearances. "Who knows when this Nightshade Rodent will decide to form a partnership with me," Linley muttered. He had no choice but to wait, as forming such a bond was something the magical creature itself initiated. Dennis chuckled. "I'd not be worried. The rodent seems to have a liking towards you. Remember, you need to have patience." "Yeah, I know." Linley also laughed. 20 days had passed since Linley began feeding the Nightshade Rodent, and they had grown extremely close. Yet, despite their bond, the rodent still showed no signs of forming the equal contract. As night enveloped the land, a peaceful stillness settled over the village. In the living room of the family estate, candlelight filled the room where Linley, his family, and Shane sat around the long table, sharing their evening meal. Halfway through dinner, Horace put down his knife and fork, looked at Linley, and said, "Linley, I hear you've been bringing roasted wild rabbits to the old house complex in the backyard quite often lately?" Linley felt a jolt of anxiety. "Looks like I need to tell him now." Linley thought to himself. He looked at Horace and nodded. Dad, I recently discovered a charming nightshade rodent in the backyard. It's really captivating, so I've been bringing it food regularly. A charming animal? Wharton's eyes immediately lit up. Oh, Horace nodded. Yes, I have seen some of these animals running around in the back. Anyway, the entrance exam for the Oakwood Academy of Magic is probably starting in about a week. Weren't you planning to participate? There were quite a few pests that roamed around the fields in the village. There was no reason for Horace to think that Linley knew what he was talking about, after all. To his knowledge, his son had no understanding of magic and dire beasts beyond the ones he had seen in the battle he had witnessed a while earlier. Oh, the entrance exam is in a week? Linley suddenly remembered this matter. A stream of energy, visible only to Linley, emerged from the dragon ring and transformed into the white-haired elder. With a knowing smile, Dennis said, Linley, regarding the magic test, it's entirely up to you. With my guidance at your disposal, do you really think those academy mages can offer you more? Linley agreed. After all, Dennis was a renowned archmage. Would a regular magic academy have someone of his caliber teaching? What? Why that face? Don't you want to go there to learn anymore? Horace, who had been smiling, suddenly turned cold, his brows furrowing. He recalled Linley's eagerness to become a mage after witnessing the battle between the two mages and the arcanist against the mercenary team, which made his current hesitation surprising. In Horace's heart, he also hoped his son could become a mage. Father, I'm not sure. Dennis frowned and, after a sudden change of heart, urged Linley to promise his father he would go. Linley's words abruptly halted, as he thought, with old man Dennis teaching me, do I really need to go? With your guidance, do I still need to go to the Magic Academy? Wouldn't it be a waste of the family's money? Linley asked. No, you do not need to, but, Dennis said solemnly, I haven't had direct contact with Oakwood for over 5,000 years. You must understand that many mages there are constantly researching new kinds of magic. Who knows how many new forms have emerged in these millennia? Linley had a sudden realization. Moreover, Linley, you should know that this village is not where your future lies. You need to broaden your horizons, Dennis emphasized. A bigger world. Linley felt a jolt of anxiety. Linley couldn't help but recall the massive lizard, the terrifying scene of the serpent's fiery dance, and the disaster where Clayton McGee effortlessly controlled an endless barrage of gigantic boulders raining down. Linley's heart raced at the thought of one day riding a giant dragon across the sky, wielding elemental powers. The idea of reaching such heights filled him with a thrilling sense of anticipation, making his blood surge with excitement. Linley, what are you thinking about? You wanted to be a mage and now you're saying you don't? Horace was slightly annoyed. He had asked a question, but Linley was actually distracted. Father, I truly want to become a mage. Please arrange for me to go to the Oakwood Academy to take the magic school entrance exam. It was only then that Horace's expression calmed down. Mage, is that a fire-breathing man? Little Wharton clapped his chubby hands happily beside them. Wharton, that's a trick. Don't confuse tricks with magic, Horace said sternly. Oh. Wharton pouted and stopped talking. Linley smiled and looked at Horace, saying, Father, there should be quite a few magic academies. Which ones are better? By the way, are the magic academies combined with warrior academies? Horace also laughed. You know, the 4 empires and 2 alliances of the mainland each have their top academies. Among them, Westhaven is known for having the strongest military. Linley nodded his head. And the top academy of Westhaven, Westhaven Order, is renowned as the leading warrior academy in all of Oakwood. As for mage academies, the premier institution in our saintly coalition is named after the legendary pope of the Radiant Conclave, Evan Rivers, and is known as Oakfield Institute.
Wait, that's not the end. You've just had a free taste. Now get the full story on the Pocket FM app, link in description. Check out our next video and playlist, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.